In 1983, Kevin Flynn designs a revolutionary digital world called the Tron system, a vast network where reality and code merge. Within it lies the grid, a self-contained universe that operates faster than time in the real world. Driven by curiosity and ambition, Kevin manages to digitize himself, sending his consciousness directly into the grid. Years later, in 1989, tragedy strikes. After his wife's death, Kevin mysteriously vanishes, leaving behind his company and fortune to his young son, Sam. By 2010, Sam discovers that his father has been trapped within the grid all along. Their reunion is bittersweet. Kevin sacrifices himself to ensure Sam's escape. Now, in 2025, the legacy of Kevin Flynn's creation fuels a new battle. Two tech giants, Encom and Dillinger Systems, are locked in a war for control of the grid. Encom is led by sisters Eve and Tess Flynn. On the other side stands Julian Dillinger, determined to restore his family's dominance. Inside the grid, a powerful program named Ares undergoes constant combat simulations, effortlessly defeating wave after wave of digital enemies. One day, his disk suddenly upgrades, and a colossal projection introduces itself as his creator, Julian. Ares learns he was built to serve as Dillinger Systems' ultimate security software, a living weapon. Julian proudly calls him his master control. That evening, Julian presents his invention to a room of investors. Wearing protective glasses, they watch as lasers assemble a massive tank from digital blueprints, fully functional and armed. Julian explains that this weapon was designed inside the grid and materialized in the real world, promising that entire armies could be created in minutes. When the tank opens, Ares steps out, a demonstration of unmatched strength, intelligence, and obedience. He doesn't bleed, eat, or rest, and if destroyed, he can be replicated. As thunder rolls outside, Ares predicts rain, amusing the crowd. But later, as the drizzle falls, Ares quietly observes a firefly, his first encounter with nature. Moments later, both he and the tank dissolve. Programs can only exist in the real world for 29 minutes. Julian's mother, Elizabeth, warns him that deceiving investors is dangerous. But Julian insists he'll find the permanence code, a way to let programs live indefinitely in reality. She reminds him that he has 6 months before the board replaces him. Meanwhile, in Alaska, Eve Flynn visits an isolated research outpost once used by her late sister Tess, who had been searching for the same permanence code. Alongside her partner Seth, Eve continues the mission. After days of sifting through Kevin's archived disks, they uncover a double helix-shaped code. Testing it, they design an orange tree inside the grid and bring it into the real world. To their astonishment, it remains intact after 29 minutes. Proof that they've found the code. Back in the digital realm, Ares struggles with existential thoughts. Julian's words about him being expendable haunt him. His lieutenant, Athena, notices his distraction. When Ares describes rain as something that can be felt, she's confused. Programs don't feel. While Encom prepares for a major game launch, AJ, the company's CTO, grows anxious over Eve's unexplained absence. Simultaneously, Elizabeth realizes Julian is hacking Encom's servers to steal the code. She urges him to stop, but Julian deploys his programs anyway. Inside the grid, Ares, Athena, and a squad of soldiers storm Encom's defenses. They overpower the digital guards, and Ares secures Eve's user file, though a broadcast of her interview, where she speaks compassionately about programs, momentarily distracts him. The battle escalates, but Ares saves a wounded ally despite Athena's orders to leave him behind. Frustrated, Julian detonates an explosive payload, disabling Encom's grid and his own soldiers in the process. When Ares reboots, he learns the injured soldier was deleted. Failure means deletion. Julian then assigns him a new mission: find Eve Flynn. Meanwhile, Eve and Seth return from Alaska, carrying their miraculous oranges. AJ calls in a fury over the sabotage, but Eve calms him, revealing she found the code. Ares studies Eve's files and becomes fascinated by her humanity, her laughter, her grief, and her devotion to Tess. Locating her Alaska test data, he alerts Julian, who brings Ares and Athena into the real world with bikes to capture Eve within 29 minutes. Eve spots the pursuit and races through city streets. Police join the chase, but the program's energy beams slice a patrol car clean in half. She swerves through traffic, forcing a bus to block Ares. Athena continues the pursuit into a parking garage, where Eve ambushes her, steals her bike, and escapes, only to find Ares back on her tail. Seconds later, Julian's men capture Eve, using a laser to digitize her into the grid. News of the destruction spreads, and Elizabeth accuses Julian of recklessness. He dismisses her, obsessed with unlocking the code. Within the grid, Ares and Athena complete Eve's digitalization. They realize the code resides in her memory, but extraction would kill her. Ares hesitates, defying Julian's command. Athena reports his malfunction, prompting Julian to order both their deaths. Ares frees Eve and escapes to the grid's outer limits. Pursued by drones, they race toward the transfer portal. Ares promises to help her return to the real world if she shares the code. Under fire, Eve agrees. Ares destroys the drones and leaps them both through the portal just in time. Rematerialized in the Dillinger lab, they fight their way out, stealing a van. Enraged, Julian brings Athena into reality, naming her the new Master Control, and sends her to hunt them down. Eve and Ares race toward ENCOM headquarters, hoping to use Kevin's old system. They call Seth for a digitalizing gun and switch to a faster car. During the drive, Ares confesses that he's read every file about her, even her texts and grief over Tess. Eve admits continuing Tess's work keeps her sister alive in memory. At ENCOM's museum, they locate Kevin's old terminal. Seth assembles the gun just as Athena bursts in. Realizing Ares will time out, Eve fires the gun, sending him into Kevin's grid. Athena destroys the gun and nearly kills Seth before timing out herself when sprinkler water confuses her senses. Back at Dillinger Systems, Elizabeth confronts Julian, announcing his termination. Furious, Athena returns unexpectedly and kills Elizabeth, claiming she was only following Julian's orders. She commandeers a massive recognizer and continues her mission. As chaos erupts, Eve convinces AJ to rebuild the digitalizing gun. Outside, Athena's recognizer devastates the city, bringing down helicopters and jets. Eve runs, barely avoiding a barrage of tracking missiles until one jet collides with the machine, toppling it. Inside Kevin's vintage grid, Ares encounters a small bit program that guides him to a hidden chamber, where Kevin Flynn's digital echo remains. Hearing Ares' vow to protect Eve, Kevin gifts him the permanence code, embedding it in his disk. Ares re-emerges in the real world just as Athena captures Eve in a tank. Now glowing with new power, Ares attacks, destroying the vehicle and rescuing Eve. Athena returns with 2 soldiers, and a fierce fight begins. Ares defeats them, but grows weak. When Athena is about to strike the final blow, Eve throws him his disc, and he blocks her attack. The two clash again. This time, Ares gains the upper hand and disarms her. Just then, AJ hacks into Dillinger's network, collapsing the entire system. As missiles rain down, Ares holds Athena as she dissolves into light. Before vanishing himself, he tells Eve that the grid now belongs to her. In the aftermath, the world condemns Dillinger Systems. Julian escapes by sending himself into the grid. Weeks later, Eve uses the permanence code for good, materializing food, medicine, and resources instantly for those in need. One day, she receives a postcard. It's from Ares, alive and free, exploring the world in search of Sam Flynn and Quora, the only other beings to ever escape the grid. Deep within the ruins of the Dillinger grid, Julian finds an old disc belonging to his grandfather. When he takes it, armor begins to form around him, the legacy of the Dillingers reborn once again.